you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com, secretoftheinternet.com. I was talking recently with a friend of mine who was talking about using a bat, a baseball bat for home defense, and he said something about having a metal one, and I told him he should probably get a wooden one because in my head, it seemed like it would have had more inertia and less kind of like bounce than a metal bat. But then I was thinking, I don't know if that's really the case. So I wanted to actually do a test about which kind of bat would be best for home defense and measure them, and then actually do some field testing, smashing some stuff with some bats to see if I can figure out which one would be the best. So what I have for my experiment is a metal bat. This is a 34-inch, I think. Where is it? Yeah, 34-inch metal bat, and it weighs approximately 2 pounds. So this will be our experiment right here. Whew. And then on the wooden side, bats are actually kind of expensive, even used, so I didn't have total choices. This one's only 32 inches. The metal one weighed 2 pounds. This one clocked in at 1 pound, 14.4 ounces. So a 34-inch bat, I imagine, would be exactly the same or maybe slightly heavier than a metal bat. So that's a wooden one. And also, for consideration, is the cold steel. I think these are some kind of high density polyethylene or something like that. The Brooklyn Smasher, in this case, this is their 34-inch unbreakable baseball bat. And this one actually is the heaviest, by quite a significant margin. This one is actually 2 pounds, almost 9 ounces. So it's about 25% heavier than the other ones. And it has the advantage of not only being supposedly unbreakable, it's incredibly resilient, but it's also like cheaper than most wooden or metal bats because it is just basically plastic. So unless the experiments that I'm going to do give me some really interesting, unexpected results, I'm thinking that this stuff is the way to go because it's going to be a lot more resilient, it's unbreakable, it's got more mass, and it's cheaper. And also, if you don't want the huge one, Cold Steel makes some little tire thumper models. This one is called the Brooklyn Shorty. This one only weighs about, what was that? Just over 1 pound. And it's perfect for, you know, in your car, tire thumper type situation, or if you just in a hallway maybe and you don't have room, small rooms to swing a massive 34-inch bat like this. And they have several sizes. And I think there's even one bigger than this if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember. But yeah, let's see what happens. We got some tests with some smashing things we're gonna do with these, so it should be fun. First up, I got some watermelons to just see general smashage, to see about carrying through with the weight of the bat. My hypothesis here is that the heavier bat is going to do more damage, and so, you know, I expected that the metal one would be the lightest, but it doesn't turn out that that's actually the case. And maybe with some metal bats, but we'll see if that extra amount of like bounce or elasticity that the metal has over the wood, if that makes a difference, or if it's just all about the weight. And now keep in mind that obviously getting hit with any bat is going to be brutal and could certainly be fatal. So you shouldn't use a bat for defense unless you're justified in using lethal force. But in a lot of cities where maybe you don't have the ability to own or use a firearm for self-defense, something like a bat you can keep around. You can have plausible deniability in terms of why you have a bat. It's not like something that's only used for hurting other people. So you can, you know, if you play softball or baseball, it's something that you're going to have anyway, and it could be useful for self-defense. Let's see how well it works out against our watermelon. Next up we have coconuts, which is less of the soft smashing capability and more of how much it can actually break through hard things, like maybe a skull or something like that. So I don't know how well a coconut actually represents that, but it'll be fun to see if there's any difference. My prediction is that all 3 bats smash the coconut without any real difference in performance there. Now we're going to do significant smashage test with cinder blocks to see if any of these bats can go through the cinder block. This is where I think the bounciness or the elasticity of the metal bat may work against it. So I don't know if this would even come into play for a self-defense type thing, but in terms of just overall usefulness, destructive capability of a bat, I think the metal one will probably bounce off without delivering as much force directly, because that elasticity will absorb some of that energy. And I think that's where the extra weight of the unbreakable bat will come into play and really smash through the blocks. So I'm thinking that the metal will probably not break the block. The wood might, and I'm thinking I can probably get through it with the unbreakable cold steel bat here. Now I am going to wear this headgear, not because I'm going to hit myself in the head, but because this I'm worried that the bat may bounce off. So I'm kind of going to go off to the side here, and when I swing at the block, and hope that it doesn't bounce back up and hit me in the face. So I'm going to be watching for that. So we got some surprising, to me, conclusions from all this. First of all, was that I was totally wrong about the metal bat. For some reason, I thought it would just be lighter, first of all, than the wooden bat. And maybe some are. Like, keep in mind that I'm making these extrapolations based on the 3 bats that I have. But I thought that it would be significantly lighter than the wooden bat, which would mean significantly less momentum. And I thought the elasticity would make it bounce off the harder stuff like the concrete blocks and maybe even the coconut. So obviously we had no significant difference with the watermelons. Those were all easy to smash and no problems there. The metal bat went through the watermelon just fine. The coconut may have seemed like there's a little bit less total destruction with the metal bat than there was with the other 2, but you never know. That could have just been that coconut or the way I hit it, because they're not perfectly even. But it certainly cracked it open. No issues there. The real surprise, none of those surprised me. The surprising thing to me was the concrete block. It blasted it right in half, didn't really bounce back too much, and it felt good. I was surprised. I liked the metal bat for that one. And the thing about this metal bat too is it's heavier, and I think this is what made the difference, is that with the exception of the other 2, the weight is almost exclusively up near the end. It's got a very big taper, and I don't know if that's just this kind of bat, maybe more of a softball bat, something like that. But I think that helps, have the weight at the end. It gives it a better feel and makes it more destructive. So it did really well. Next up was the wooden bat. as I suspect, like I said, this one is slightly smaller than the other two, so it would weigh a little bit more than the metal bat. But it obviously, the metal bat weighed enough. This one weighed enough to smash through the watermelon, smash through the coconut, smash through the wood, and blasted through the concrete block. Now I will say, on the concrete block, that damn near broke my hand hitting it with this wooden bat. I felt almost nothing with the metal bat, and that actually is where the elasticity that I thought would be an issue will come in and probably be an advantage, because that hurt. Like, it wasn't seriously at risk of breaking my hand, but it was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. It absorbed a lot of shock from the concrete block, and even though it blasted it, it did break it just as good and just as easily as the metal bat. That was a significant shock to my hand. Not something that you want to be doing regularly. So if you are going to have any reason to think that you're going to be smashing on something that's not going to break, then the wooden one, you better have some big padded gloves on or something, because that was uncomfortable. Next up was the Brooklyn Smasher, the cold steel one. Now, like I was saying before with the metal bat, this one actually has the most gentle taper, which is probably related to the fact that if they made this, because of what it's made out of, if this was too thin, it would be almost too flexible. Because you can almost feel a little bit of flex in it because it is plastic. So they probably had to make it a little bit more of a gentle taper. So it doesn't have as much of that weight up in the front end. But obviously it's the heaviest of them all. It totally obliterated the watermelon and the coconut. Probably had the most complete destruction of the coconut, which was fantastic. And the concrete block smashed that too. Now you felt it a little more than the metal one, but not anywhere near to the extent of the wooden bat. And I will say that although this is the most resilient overall of the materials, the wood or the metal, it does show the most superficial damage. I don't know if you can get yeah. So you'll see little gouges and stuff like that in the plastic from hitting the concrete, maybe even the coconut, which has nothing to do with the effectiveness of the item, but it is something that is going to make it not look quite as pretty. Whereas you can barely tell. I mean, I scraped a little paint off the metal one. I don't think it dented it at all. It's hard for me to tell. I think that's the only damage I have on this from the metal. The metal bat is scraping it. Same with the wooden bat. No real damage on there. These were used, so they're already scuffed and everything, but so that was interesting. So what's the verdict when it comes down to it? I would still say, I mean, my initial, here's what I thought before making the video, is that I thought first choice would be the cold steel, second choice would be the wood, and metal only if you didn't have the other two. And now I'm reversing that. I would still say the cold steel is the first choice for the simple reasons that it's the most resilient overall, and it's cheap. It's going to be cheap. And so there's other things you could probably use it for, you know. And in general purpose versatility, an unbreakable bat is going to be your best bet. It can't be bent. If you run over it with a car, even they have videos of them running over it, flexes, and then it comes right back. But I would say the wooden one, there's no reason to use the wooden one for self-defense or anything unless you just already have it. If you're getting one purely for self-defense, I would go ahead and buy this, and the link will be in the description where you get this on Amazon, because they're not that expensive. I think they're 30 or 40 bucks, which even the cheapest bats, like the Walmart bats, are going to be close to that when you're talking about metal and wood. And they may not perform as well or be the same size, and they have different sizes. That's the big one. You can always get the little one like that too, which obviously this isn't going to compete with the big ones in terms of smashing power. But you could certainly ruin somebody's day with this, that's for sure, if they broke in on you. And you get a little bit more close quarter combat action, a little bit easier to store and everything like that. So a little bit of surprising results. I definitely recommend this one. And I have to eat some crow because I thought the metal bat would be a poor choice. And I even remember there was some movie where he makes fun of the guy for using a metal bat for self-defense. And that may have like infected my brain from years ago with the idea that the metal bats weren't good for self-defense, and maybe I just came up with ideas, rationalized them after the fact, as to why that might be the case. I think it was like Get Shorty or something, or the one after, or the sequel. I think it was the sequel. What's the sequel called to Get Shorty? Stay Cool, something like that? I think that was what it was from. Anyways, I'm gonna have to look. Somebody reconfirm that if you guys have seen that movie lately. But I recommend you, and I definitely don't recommend hitting concrete blocks with a wooden bat. Woo! Good thing I take my vitamins. Didn't smash my bones. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.